So, a young 15-year-old Canadian girl has run away from home. Big deal, you may think. There are runaways every day all over the world. Youngsters, that's what they do, run away from home. This is a story with a bit of a difference. This is a story that involves Jehovah's Witnesses. A young girl, 15 years old, by the name of Cassidy McCarville, from Canada, a couple of days ago ran away from home. She ran away from home because she was a Jehovah's Witness and her parents weren't. She became a Jehovah's Witness at the age of 13, 2 years ago. Apparently there was some kind of a dispute over her being a Jehovah's Witness, and the parents tried to ground her, and she took exception to it, and she ran away. The police were called, the mountain police, Canadian mountain police. They managed to track her down and found her safe and sound in a hotel in Vancouver. Now, a young girl of 15 is not going to be able to pay for a hotel by herself. She's obviously being helped, and she's being helped by Jehovah's Witnesses. The article that I read doesn't categorically say that Jehovah's Witnesses are helping her, but logic would dictate that they are. And in my experience, and take it from me, I do have first-hand experience of this, they are helping her, and they are dividing this family. I know this because when I was 19, 20 years ago, I did the exact same thing. I did it together with my sister. My sister was 4 years older than me. We were studying with Jehovah's Witnesses at the time, and my parents weren't happy. I come from an Italian background. My parents were strict Catholics, and we were brought up as Catholics. So the Jehovah's Witnesses come knocking at the door, like they do, and me being the curious person that I was, looking for answers to questions that I didn't have the answers to, they seemed to offer all the answers. They seemed to know what was the truth, and they seemed to have it, you know, there at their fingertips. They had the answers to everything. Armageddon, the New World Order, everything. So anyway, being young and impressionable and naive and stupid, maybe, I don't know, I decided, as did my sister, that we wanted to study with them. Now this, as you can well imagine, coming from an Italian Catholic background, didn't go down well. It came to the point where my parents gave us an ultimatum. We were forever arguing, and my parents thought they'd call our bluff and just say, well, as long as you're here, living under our roof, you do not study with them. If you want to study with them, you leave home. Well, bearing in mind the scripture that the witnesses kept on repeating to us over and over again, we thought that actually we were doing the right thing. Now the scripture that I'm referring to is Matthew 10:34, and it goes on. I'm going to read it to you because my memory is not what it once was, so I have it written down here. And bear in mind the scripture and the context in which I am reading it, and what was happening at the time in my life in terms of studying with witnesses, being young, being naive, and thinking that we were doing the right thing. So Matthew 10:34 goes on to say, "Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a person's enemies will be those of his own household. Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And whoever does not take his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." So, okay, they warned us, the witnesses, Jehovah's Witnesses, they warned us that the minute we would start studying with them, that we would encounter opposition. we would encounter opposition, particularly from family members. So we were prepared for this, and in fact it happened. Family were not happy, our parents weren't happy, and it caused division within the family unit. So when we were delivered that ultimatum that afternoon, when we were arguing with my mum, my sister and I looked across the room at each other, and we thought, we have to take a stand. We have to make a stand. You know, we want to fight for Jehovah. We want to kind of show that we're prepared to do anything that it takes to show that we love him, that, you know, we want to do the right thing. So we knew what we had to do. The way it happened, I deeply, deeply regret. It really broke my family, my parents' heart. It broke us apart. What happened is my mum went out. She went to put out some clothes out on the washing line. My sister and I hurried upstairs. We gathered a few things, bits and pieces together, phoned a local Jehovah's Witnesses that lived locally, very local to us, and asked them to meet us at a certain place. This is very vague now, all the details, but anyway, we met up with the witnesses. They drove us to a brother's house where we stayed on the first night. We were hiding in the car because locally we were known to people, and it's almost as though they were smuggling us out. I can't begin to imagine what my mum's reaction was when she walked back into the house and found that we weren't there. It really must have really torn her heart out. I know that the day after and the subsequent days after that, my dad was looking for us. I belonged to the Italian congregation, the local Italian congregation, and the Italian community in the place that I lived and currently live now in Bedford in the UK. Is a very small Italian community, so he was going around to places where he thought that we might be. We stayed with Jehovah's Witnesses. They finally found us a bedsit to stay in. All in all, we were out of the house for 9 months, and in that time we were estranged from our parents. The shame that it brought on my family, it shook up the Italian community. It was the talk of the Italian community. We were labelled all sorts of horrible, horrible things. It even came to the point where my parents said they'd rather we were dead. The anguish that we felt being estranged from our parents, and our parents, you know, being estranged from us, and even came to the point where we'd walk past each other in the streets, and although my mum wanted to kind of reach out to us, she felt for my dad's sake, who was stronger, not to you know, acknowledge us as we walked past each other in the streets. Now, from the point of view of the Jehovah's Witnesses, this was a good thing, because it proved that actually we were standing up for Jehovah. We were an exemplary example in the congregation, and for them it was, you know, kudos to us, because we were actually doing what we were supposed to be doing. We were kind of serving Jehovah, and you know, pat on the back, you know, well done, you know, you've done all the right things, and you know, this is a test for you, and you'll be rewarded, and the rest of it. So, not to go into the whole detail of my story and everything, but I just wanted to say, really, what's going on with this young girl? If she carries on being sucked into the Jehovah's Witnesses and being pulled away from her family, the next thing she'll know is that 20 years would have gone by, 15 years, however many years would have gone by, and she would have lost her youth to the cult. I look back and I gave 15 years of my life to the cult, to the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I look back and I think I had no youth at all. I spent best years of my life knocking on people's doors, selling them a lie. And this is exactly what's going to happen to this young girl. So it's imperative, it's really vitally important that these parents, whatever they do, manage to get her back. Because although it seems to the general public that Jehovah's Witnesses are just innocuous, they're just, you know, people in suits knocking on doors, passing the time of day, speaking about, you know, the state of the world, etc., smiling and everything. They're not. They have an agenda, and that agenda is to break up your family. They won't admit to it. They will deny it like they deny everything else, because they are liars, and I'm living proof of it. And I dare say that you'll find many other people that are also ex-Jehovah's Witnesses that have their own story to tell. So I want to make people aware that when Jehovah's Witnesses come knocking on your door, don't buy into what they're selling you. Don't, because they may seem to be sweetness and light, but they're not. And in turn, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, I thought I had the truth, and in all sincerity, I did go knocking on people's doors thinking that I was saving them from Armageddon, or I was an aid, I was a tool that God was using to save them. And I dare say lots of rank and file Jehovah's Witnesses in the congregations truly think this and feel this also. But what they don't know about the organisation that they belong to is that it's insidious, it's harmful, and there's lots that goes on behind closed doors that they are unaware of. They don't know. All they know is that they have to go to the meetings, they go out and they knock on people's doors, they leave magazines and tracts and literature and try to start up Bible studies because they're told to do so, because they believe that they have the truth. So please, when they come knocking on your door, or if you know anyone that is studying with Jehovah's Witnesses, direct them to awa.co, that's AAWA.co. That has an abundance of information on there, and that's to raise awareness to the world at large of the harmful policies that Jehovah's Witnesses have that you may not be aware of. I'm not going to go into them all now here, but please, I'm going to try and put a link at the bottom. I'm not quite sure how you do that. I want to also put a link at the bottom with regards to this young girl that's left. I'll see if I can figure that out. And please beware, because the phrase, you know, wolves in sheep clothing comes to mind. So I'm going to leave you with that thought. I hope that this has managed to reach out to someone and to help them. And I thank you for listening and watching. Bye.